Jagurudev. Welcome to today's custom-tailored deep dive. And wow, the journey we are embarking on today, it really strips away like everything you think you know about how the universe actually operates.
Oh, completely. It's a massive paradigm shift.
Right. So we're pulling from this remarkably detailed text, an English translation of excerpts from a Telugu book. It's titled Divine Energy, published back in May 2022 by Vijayanand Guruji. He's the founder of the Ananda Rishi Foundation.
Yeah, and it is such a profound piece of writing
Mm-hmm.
because, it completely refuses to separate the mundane stuff from the mystical.
Exactly.
It builds a singular framework that connects, like, the intensely practical day-to-day reality of your own biology with the absolute vastness of cosmic time and, well, ancient reality-bending capabilities.
Which is just wild. And that's our mission for this deep dive, to map out that exact framework for you. We're going to explore this deeply interconnected system of how energy governs literally everything. We're talking about the energy it takes to, digest the lunch in your stomach, all the way to the cosmic cycles of time,
Yeah.
and the actual mechanics behind ancient mystical teleportation.
Teleportation, yeah, that's a big one.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand teleportation, the text insists we actually have to start with a very simple, almost purely logical progression about human motivation.
Right. It starts by asking foundational questions like, why do we do anything at all? Why do we work?
For money, obviously.
Exactly. The practical immediate answer is money. But why do we need money? Primarily to secure food and shelter. And why do we need food? The ultimate answer, the real bedrock of human existence, is energy.
We just need energy to exist.
To exist, to function, to experience reality at all.
And it strips away all the societal complications and just looks at you, the listener, as a vessel that requires constant energetic input. And the text doesn't just leave it at some vague concept of calories.
No, not at all.
It provides this incredibly granular breakdown of the specific, highly categorized energies you are utilizing right this second. Like, you need light energy just to process the visual information of the room you're sitting in.
Right.
You are actively using sound energy to interpret my voice. Smell, taste, touch energies, these are all distinct, quantifiable forces that allow your nervous system to even interface with the world.
And then moving inward to the physiological side, right? The categorization continues. You require muscle energy just to hold your posture.
Yeah, or chemical energy.
Right. Chemical energy is being deployed by your stomach to break down that food. Air energy fuels the expansion and contraction of your lungs. Water energy maintains the viscosity of your blood so your heart can actually pump it. Heat energy acts as the thermostat, maintaining your internal body temperature.
It's like, think of the human body as an incredibly complex multi-fuel engine. We tend to oversimplify and think, well, I eat food, I get energy, I go.
Yeah, but you aren't a lawnmower running on a single tank of unleaded gas.
Exactly. According to this framework, you need magnetic energy, electromagnetic energy, and mechanical energy, all operating simultaneously, constantly shifting and trading off just to keep you sitting upright.
And what's fascinating here is when you view the body as a multi-fuel engine, the text's definition of health takes on a completely different meaning. I mean, in modern Western medicine, we often define health as simply the absence of a diagnosed pathogen or disease.
Right, like no virus, you're healthy.
But this text defines true health as equilibrium. It is the active dynamic state of having the exact precise amount of these various energies, nothing in excess, nothing in deficit.
So illness in this model is really just a stutter in that multi-fuel engine. It's not necessarily a foreign invader, it's a mechanical failure of your internal energy distribution.
Precisely. The text classifies diseases purely based on the duration and nature of these energy imbalances. So, if an energy imbalance is short-term, say a sudden spike in your heat energy, it manifests as an acute disease, like a fever.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. But if the imbalance persists over a long period, perhaps a chronic deficit in digestive chemical energy, well, it hardens into a chronic disease.
And the framework maps to the mind as well. The text states that ailments isolated to mental distress are classified as psychic diseases. But when an energy imbalance bridges the gap, affecting both the mind and the physical body simultaneously, it becomes psychosomatic.
Which completely reframes the concept of healing.
Right. Healing isn't a war against a virus. Healing is the deliberate, practiced act of reducing excess energy and boosting deficient energy until that absolute equilibrium is restored.
It demands active participation. You can't just be a passive recipient of health. You have to be the mechanic tuning the engine.
Yeah, there's a brilliant line from the text that Guruji writes, A good person learns knowledge, a great person practices knowledge. But if balancing the microscopic internal energies of your organs is the practice of personal health, how does one practice mastering the massive, overwhelming energies of the outside world?
Well, to answer that, the text scales way up from the microcosm of the human body to the macrocosm of the entire universe, utilizing the metaphor of a turning wheel. Just as energy cycles through your blood and lungs, the whole of existence turns.
The wheel of time.
Exactly. Minutes turn into hours, hours into days, years into centuries, and those centuries roll up into massive epical eras that the text calls yugas.
And the text outlines a very specific cycle of 3 yugas, the Mantra Yuga, the Tantra Yuga, and the Yantra Yuga. Now, I have to push back here for a second.
Go for it.
It is incredibly easy to romanticize the past and claim ancient people had magical godlike powers in some lost golden age. Does the text actually offer a mechanical explanation for what changes across these yugas? I mean, are we just reading mythological metaphors? Do the laws of physics break? Do human beings biologically mutate?
That is the crucial distinction to make. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the text posits something remarkably elegant. Human biology and fundamental human desires do not change at all.
They don't.
No. The underlying need remains a constant across time. Take the desire to witness an event happening thousands of miles away. Humans have always wanted to know what is happening over the horizon. What changes across the yugas is strictly the methodology and the internal capability we use to fulfill that desire.
Okay, let's track that desire, the need to see across the world through the 3 eras.
Sure. In the first era, the Mantra Yuga, the text states that human consciousness and the natural environment were energetically aligned. People possessed an internal capability where they could simply close their eyes, chant a specific mantra, which is a precise sound frequency, and they would be able to see distant events.
Wow.
The text refers to this as divya drishti, or divine vision. There were no tools, no physical aids. The human mind and the acoustic vibration were the only technology required.
So they were essentially operating like a biological radio, tuning their internal frequency to match the frequency of a distant location, but then the wheel of time turns.
Right. As the wheel turns into the Tantra Yuga, humanity loses that pure, direct, energetic connection. The desire to see far away remains, but a simple mental focus and a spoken mantra are no longer sufficient to bridge the gap. People began to require physical aids.
Like what kind of aids?
The text describes how they would use a physical object, like a mirror or a bowl of water, and combine it with a mantra and a tantra, which is a specific ritualistic process. The combination of object, sound, and ritual compensated for the loss of direct mental connection.
The physical object becomes a crutch.
Yes.
Which leads us to the 3rd era, the one we are sitting in right now, the Yantra Yuga, the age of the machine. We have completely lost the pure mental connection of the Mantra Yuga, and we've even lost the ritualistic connection of the Tantra Yuga. Today, to see an event happening on the other side of the world, we rely entirely on a yantra, a machine.
We require a television, a satellite network, a smartphone screen.
Yeah, and we view our modern technology as the absolute apex of human achievement. But through the lens of divine energy, that 4K flat-screen television is basically a clunky mechanical substitute for ancient mirror scrying, which itself was a substitute for direct divine vision.
It's humbling, isn't it?
It really is. We are so incredibly proud of our microchips. But in this framework, we only invented them because we forgot the passwords to our own minds. We outsourced our internal energetic capabilities to silicon and plastic. And the most compelling part of this cosmic wheel is that it's not a straight line ending in machines. It's a cycle.
Right.
The text promises that after this machine age reaches its peak, the wheel will inevitably return to the Mantra Yuga.
It is a cyclical view of technological and spiritual evolution. But to really grasp how a spoken mantra could possibly do the work in a modern satellite network, we have to look at the sheer scale of nature as Guruji describes it.
The math here is staggering. The text claims there are exactly 3 crore, which translates to 30 million distinct types of energies in nature, 30 million unique variables interacting at all times.
It's a massive system.
And the fundamental mechanism that drives the universe and the yugas is that any of these energies can be transformed from one state into another.
Transformation is the entire game. But you don't transform energy just by wishing for it or by chanting randomly. There is a precise mechanical formula for mastering any one of these 30 million energies.
Okay, what's the formula?
To master an energy, you need 3 elements executed in perfect unison: the mantra, the yantra, and the tantra.
If we use a modern analogy, it's kind of like 3D rendering software.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
The mantra is the raw code, the specific sound frequency of the energy. Every single energy out of those 30 million has a unique acoustic signature. The yantra is the 3D model, the specific shape or geometric symbol that represents the structural architecture of that energy.
Exactly.
And the tantra is the processor. It's the systematic methodology or process of executing the code and the structure together.
And the text even provides the source code for the core elemental forces. It shares the specific seed sounds.
Wait, really?
Yeah. If you want to interact with the foundational energy of air, the mantra is the sound VAM. If you are dealing with water, the acoustic key is LAM. And for fire, the mantra is RAM.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The text provides a specific example of what happens when you apply this full formula to fire, or Agni. If you chant the specific acoustic frequency, RAM, while simultaneously visualizing or drawing its specific geometric yantra, and you execute the precise tantric process, fire essentially submits to you.
It submits to you.
But the mechanism behind why it submits is brilliant. You aren't putting up some invisible force field to block the heat. You are utilizing acoustic resonance to align your own bodily energy with the frequency of the fire. You energetically become fire, and fire cannot burn itself.
You cease to be a separate entity resisting the element. You harmonize with it from the inside out to the point of total identification. And this isn't presented as some myth from thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
The text grounds this acoustic and energetic theory in a modern documented example. It points to a contemporary figure named Ganapati Sachidananda Swami.
The text refers to him as a siddha. A siddha is someone who has achieved a siddhi, which is absolute perfection or mastery over a specific energy or phenomenon. The book describes how this Swami is capable of standing directly inside a blazing yajna gundam, a sacred fire pit utilized for massive rituals, without his skin or clothing being harmed in the slightest.
He is presented as living proof that the principles of the Mantra Yuga are not completely lost to history. The underlying mechanics of the universe haven't changed. The formulas still work if a human being possesses the profound internal discipline and knowledge to execute them.
That is just incredible.
And this raises an important question. If a human being in the modern era can theoretically master the acoustic resonance of fire so completely that they can stand in a blazing cut unburnt, what were people truly capable of doing during the absolute peak of the Mantra Yuga, when humanity's energetic connection was at its maximum?
The text explores the absolute upper limit of this energetic mastery, and it centers on travel and physical location. It describes ancient dematerialization, teleportation. In the Mantra Yuga, people could literally become invisible and travel across the world without a physical vehicle.
The mechanical explanation provided is fascinating because it treats physical matter as just another dense form of energy. They would utilize a specific, highly complex mantra to alter the vibrational frequency of their body's atomic structure. Sound was used to loosen the bonds of solid matter, transforming their physical body into air energy.
It is organic sci-fi teleportation.
Yes.
Usually, we imagine teleportation as a machine scanning your body, breaking you down into digital ones and zeros, beaming that data across a vacuum and printing you back out. But in this framework, you are using the precise sound frequency of your own biological code to shift your base physical state from solid to gas. You literally become the wind.
Once that diffused gaseous state, they could travel unseen on the air currents to a new location. And then they had to execute the exact inverse of the process. They must chant another specific mantra to condense that air energy back into solid physical form to rematerialize.
Think about the sheer, unimaginable cognitive load that would require. You are holding your own conscious identity and structural blueprint together through pure mental discipline while your physical form is diffused across the atmosphere.
Yeah.
If your concentration slips for a microsecond while you are wind, you don't rematerialize.
Which brings us to the most vital, non-negotiable caveat in the entire text. As exhilarating as it sounds to master fire or dissolve into the wind, the text lays down an absolute rule. You cannot simply read a translation of a book, learn the syllable RAM, walk out to a bonfire, and expect to be immune to the heat.
Please, to anyone listening, do not go chant RAM at your girl tonight thinking you are suddenly a fireproof siddha.
Seriously, do not do that. The text is explicitly clear. Attempting to master any of the 30 million energies requires undertaking rigorous practice under the direct, physical supervision of an experienced, realized guru.
It makes perfect logical sense when you consider the complexity of the system. Look at modern biohacking today. People constantly try to hack their dopamine, their cortisol, or their testosterone with extreme diets, untested supplements, or massive cold plunges.
Right.
Often, they end up causing severe harm to their thyroid or their nervous system because they are pulling levers on a machine they don't fully understand. They are trying to force a change in one energy without realizing how it impacts the other 29 million variables in their multi-fuel engine.
A realized guru acts as the master mechanic. They possess the internal vision to see your specific energetic equilibrium, your unique ratio of light, sound, heat, and chemical energies. If you attempt a tantric process to boost your heat energy to master fire, but you already have a latent imbalance in your water energy, you could irreparably damage your nervous system.
Wow, yeah.
The guru guides the transformation safely, ensuring that as you alter one frequency, the entire system remains in harmony. Knowledge of the mantra is just data. Executing it safely requires supreme wisdom.
A good person learns knowledge, a great person practices knowledge. But a wise person only practices it with a guide who can see the whole board. Let's pull all of this together and look at the sheer scope of the journey divine energy takes us on. We started by looking inward at our own biology, realizing that everything from the physical digestion of our foods to the mental processing of our thoughts is an interplay of specific, quantifiable energies. True health is nothing more than the meticulous, active maintenance of that internal equilibrium.
Then we zoomed out to the macrocosm, observing that the universe operates on those exact same energetic principles, cycling through vast yugas based entirely on how humanity interfaces with reality. We track the decline from the direct mind-to-universe acoustic connection of the mantra yuga through the crutches of the ritualistic tantra yuga, landing squarely in our current age of machines, the antra yuga.
We explored the underlying mechanics of reality hacking, the formula of mantra, yantra, and tantra, the code, the structure, and the processor. The acoustic keys required to transform any of the 30 million energies of nature, allowing masters to utilize resonance to walk through fire or rewrite their atomic structure to ride the wind. It is an incredibly cohesive, breathtaking framework that connects stomach acid to cosmic teleportation.
It really forces a complete reevaluation of our place in the universe. And I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, something that builds directly on the implications of Guruji's text. The book confidently states that the cosmic wheel is always in motion. After our current yatra, or machine, yuga concludes, humanity will inevitably loop back to the energetic purity of the mantra yuga. Now, look closely at the cutting edge of our modern technology. Think about the trajectory of the machines we are so proud of.
They are disappearing.
Exactly. Our earliest machines were massive, clunky, physical monoliths of steel and coal. Then they shrank to desktop computers, then to smartphones in our pockets. Today, physical interfaces are giving way to voice-activated AI. We simply speak a command into the empty air, and the environment responds. Furthermore, neuroscientists are actively developing wireless neural links where a mere thought can type a sentence, control a robotic limb, or interface with a global network.
We are training ourselves to use thought and sound to manipulate reality again.
As our yantras become microscopically small, as they become practically invisible and implanted within us, and as they are increasingly controlled solely by human thought and spoken acoustic commands, are we actually right now building the technological bridge back to the mantra yuga without even realizing it? Will our machines eventually become so advanced and so integrated with our biology that we simply no longer need them?
We are just reinventing ancient magic with microchips, racing toward the day when the microchips disappear entirely, leaving us exactly where we started with just the mind, the sound, and the universe. That is a thought that is going to fundamentally change how I look at my phone tomorrow morning. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the profound mechanics of existence. Thank you for joining us on this journey, Jai Guru Dev.